Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 2002 film 28 Days Later, and this is directed by Danny Boyle and stars Cillian Murphy, Brendan Gleeson and Naomi Harris. When a man wakes up in a hospital bed, he soon discovers that the world is not what it once seemed and homicidal maniacs are running rampant. 28 years later is almost upon us, and of course I was going to go and revisit the first two movies leading up to it, so I thought I'd review them here on the channel. And it's been a while since I've seen 28 Days Later, but I always remember really liking this film, so I was excited to give it another rewatch. First off, I gotta say, the way Danny Boyle captures the streets of London just looking absolutely lifeless is genius to me. I mean, even 23 years on, where filmmaking has advanced and technology has moved on, it still looks unbelievable. And to get one of the most busiest cities in the world looking like no one even lives there, I mean, it's a fiat on its own. Now, apparently Danny Boyle and his crew did not have to close off any of the streets here to make this possible. In fact, they captured shots off a digital camera that really captured the shots quickly and stuff, and they were able to put it all together in the editing room. I'm not entirely sure how that works. I'm not really a filmmaker myself, but I do know the ins and outs of filmmaking. But when I look at this up, I couldn't really get my head around what it was trying to tell me. But apparently that's how they done it. So it's absolutely baffling to me that they actually done this in kind of real time. They done it on Sundays at 4 a.m. in the morning when it was a bit more quieter and stuff. Yeah, it's a genius opening scene, to be honest. And it's a very realistic portrayal of probably what London would look like if the world had come to an end and loads of people had been killed by raging lunatics. But no CGI bullshit, you know, no green screen or nothing. Just all real on the camera. And yeah, it's a great opening scene, and probably one of the greatest opening scenes in horror history. You know, just this Jim character played by Cillian Murphy wondering what the hell has gone on while he's been in the hospital bed. But it's not even just the opening scene, it's the distant countrysides or empty motorways that our characters are going on, where it just feels like this is what the UK would be like. I mean, it's just such a realistic portrayal. And I'm from the UK myself, so I can kind of relate to it. And I was just looking at it going, yeah, man, just imagine I woke up and the world was like this. It'd be so strange. But it's not just, you know, the hollow world that we live in, because there are some dangerous individuals running around, especially at nighttime in this movie. And death can come for you at any single second in this film, whether you make a sound or just take a wrong turn, because these motherfuckers are scary as hell. I've always heard the discussion that this isn't a zombie movie, it's a virus movie. Someone actually told me off in the comments when I done my horror movie collection, when I said, oh yeah, this is a great zombie movie. And I was like, really? Who cares? But upon rewatch now, I can kind of see where those people are coming from, and I get the argument, really, because I wouldn't say these are your typical type retro type zombies. They move very quickly, and they're kind of like the characters in the movie The Sadness from 2021, where they're just crazy individuals who have death and nothing more on their mind. They just want to rip people apart. So yeah, these are quite different, I think. And it was in an era of where the zombies, if you like, are quick. I mean, these aren't very slow people. They are quick as hell, and yeah, you've really got to be looking at over your shoulder at all times in this world. I mean, there's a moment where Jim is in a church at one point, and he just shouts for a bit of help or see if there's anyone there. And there's this swarm of bodies at the bottom of the church, and then a couple of them just pop their head up there, and it is, of course, these infected characters. And that scene always gives me the chills, but it's kind of our first glimpse of what this world has been taken over by. And yeah, they just chill me to the bone. They're quite terrifying. But I really like our four main characters who we go on a journey with here, who form this sort of mini family over such a short runtime throughout this film. You've got Cillian Murphy, who's our main protagonist here, and I think he's great in this film. You know, one of his more earlier roles, but you can see why he's gone on to be such a huge star. And it's easy for me to say that now because that has come true, but you can tell in the early days, especially in this movie, that this guy was going to be in, you know, bigger things, really. And I really like the way he's our vessel, you know, that we sort of want the answers of what's going on in this world. The information is given to him, and he's kind of like us. He's kind of like the viewer who's trying to work everything out there. But he's got a bit of kick-ass about him, especially in the third act. And I really like how he's a protector for these female protagonists. You know, he cares, he's got a bit of heart, and, you know, he's really forming a bond with these characters, really. And they kind of look to him a little bit there. I really like Naomi Harris's character, Selena, here too. She's kind of the opposite of Cillian Murphy. She kind of knows what's been going on for these last 28 days, how to survive in this world. And she's just no nonsense, you know. Anyone who is infected or gets infected, she will just take them out no matter what, whether it's a mother, father, family, friend. You got infected, you're getting taken out by Selena, and that's the end of it. And at first, she doesn't really want to go along with Brendan Gleeson's character and her daughter because it's kind of every man for himself there. But I like how she learns across the movie to, yeah, I mean, humans have got to have each other's backs here if we're going to survive in this world. And I really like also the little mother and daughter type deal going on between her and Brendan Gleeson's character. It's not quite Ripley and Newt and Aliens or anything, but, you know, you see that little arc grow between them two characters there. Unfortunately, Brendan Gleeson's daughter in this movie, I'm really sorry I haven't got the actress's name, she wasn't great. I mean, her line delivery was kind of awful, but she didn't speak all that much, and I still cared about her as a character. And Brendan Gleeson, of course, is awesome as usual. But there's one scene, even in this world, that is doomed and collapsed that really brings a little bit of hope to these characters. And it's when they're in the countryside and these four horses are kind of, it's like a family of horses just running along in these empty fields, and they look really happy and together. And it kind of mirrors and symbolizes the four characters in the movie there. And, you know, they're like forming that little family, and they kind of like the horses, if you like, where, you know, if you stick together, things can get better. We're at rock bottom now, but hopefully things can pick up. I know the world's ended and everything, but does it get much worse than this? And if you haven't got hope, what's the point in living? And I really like that scene. It kind of touches and brings the human element and, you know, the human strength together there. But I really like the third act here as well, where Danny Boyle takes a little bit of a left turn. It would have been very easy to just do this virus/zombie movie, whatever you want to call it, for the entire runtime. But our characters basically answer this radio call where salvation is possible in this world. And they go there, and they're kind of tricked into it by these team of army guys. And Christopher Eccleston's character, who's kind of running this little mini army family of his. And they seemed a lot more safer in that dangerous living world than they do in this kind of army barracks place, because these guys are terrible human beings and they basically want to rape the women and everything like that. So I know if you watch The Walking Dead now, the humans can seem like worse characters than the zombies, but this kind of came before The Walking Dead. I believe the comics of The Walking Dead even came after this. So you can't really say that, you know, it copied the comics or anything, because this, I believe, came first. So yeah, that was kind of unexpected watching that back in the day, that the humans are actually the worst things in this world. And it kind of counters the other argument of where you can have hope, because some, you know, with the horse scene, because some humans basically will destroy themselves no matter what. I mean, even at the darkest of times, they can't pull together, and they just, you know, they're not really a great species when you think about it. They will destroy the world if they can. Now, whilst I like a lot about this film, I got one big problem with this movie. In fact, I got a big fucking problem with this movie, and it is the picture quality. I mean, no, I watched this on Blu-ray. You can see it just behind me there. And I believe a 4K is coming. However, I don't think that 4K is going to improve all that much. But my friend watched it on Prime. I've heard this is a worldwide problem. When I looked it online, everyone says that the picture quality of this movie is terrible. I was watching this on Blu-ray and it kind of looked like VHS. I mean, I believe it's the cameras that Danny Boyle decided to film it on. That might have helped with the opening scene and stuff. I get it. But man, this was so frustrating to watch. It just looked awful. And it's a shame, because he's got some real good directional qualities in here as well. And some of the shots he gets, especially in that open scene, this would just looked amazing on 4K if the picture quality and stuff was just all set pristine. But I don't think they can actually fix it just because of the cameras it was shot on. And there's not really any excuse because films that have come out in the 80s and stuff look better than this. Now, he may claim, I don't know, that he has done this for effect. You know, it's kind of like making the world feel a little bit more sort of realistic and stuff. But I think you could have got it realistic and stuff without having this bad quick picture quality. I mean, it doesn't work for me. It pissed me off for every single second of the movie. I never got used to it. I hated it. So, yeah, bad choice by Danny Boyle there, I think. It's a shame because I would have given this movie, when I get to my rating, a lot higher if it weren't for this, but it is a massive, and I mean massive, negative. And even though he does have a good few directional qualities here, I don't know why he throws so many Dutch angles in. I mean, there seemed to be a Dutch angle thrown in every couple of minutes in this movie, and it had no effect. Now, I'm just going to think of a random Dutch angle that works. Let's say the movie The Burbs, where Tom Hanks and Art finally go into the Klopek's house, and there's a few Dutch angles in there. I get it. It kind of resembles like a haunted house because these people are actually killers, and you can sort of see why the director, Joe Dante, has done that. It kind of works, you know. But here, he's just throwing them in random places, left, right, and centre, in the outdoors, in the indoors, everywhere. They're just everywhere. And I don't know if that was a thing back in 2000 or anything, but I've never noticed as many Dutch angles as I have in this movie. And yeah, it came quite frustrating in the end. Also, something that bugged me a little bit, when we get to this kind of army barracks at the end, they have this zombie tied up called Mailer, and he's just spewing blood in the yard. And I'm just thinking, why did they keep him alive? Because, of course, Brendan Gleeson's character, in a heartbreaking scene, gets one little bit of blood from an infected in his eye, and it turns him into the infected himself. So why are these army guys keeping this Mailer character spewing blood in the yard? If any little bit of blood gets into them and infects them, it's over and could cause a massive infection within their little environment there. So yeah, that kind of didn't make sense to me. Also, while I really like the third act, Jim going up against all these sinister army dudes did feel a little bit far-fetched in such a grounded movie. I mean, I know it's a virus infection film, but it still feels grounded there and what Danny Boyle was going for. But it kind of goes a little bit too John Rambo in the third act. I just don't think Jim could really take on all these guys on his own. Yeah, these are trained killers. So yeah, it just went a little bit too far there. However, this is still an awesome movie, guys, and it's an absolute classic now, isn't it? I had a lot of fun with it on this rewatch. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give 28 Days Later a 7.5 out of 10. Man, this has got me really even more hyped for 28 years later now, and a rewatch of 28 weeks later as well. Okay, guys, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for 28 Days Later is that Danny Boyle actually used athletes for these infected characters because, of his opinion, and he's probably right, they can move in different ways than your average Joe, and they are, of course, very fast as well. And that really pays off with the movie there because, yeah, they're fast motherfuckers and they're quite terrifying, like I said in the review. Okay, guys, hope you all enjoyed this review. Don't forget to look out for my review of 28 Years Later, which will be coming next week. And let me know what you think of 28 Days Later in the comments down below. I'll try and get back to you all, I promise. Thanks so much, guys. If horror is your sort of thing, please give this video a like and subscribe to this channel. It really helped me out. You all take care, and I'll see you all in the next video.